Hello, let's do a video. And this video this video is gonna be over ka, or it's a simple topic, but I have a lot to explain. So ka, in ka, you can use ka, this prefix before adjectives, and that's what I'm gonna explain. So ka kind of changes adjectives in their expressions, right? So when you're describing things, in English we can be like, oh, it's pretty, or something is pretty, or this pencil is pretty, right? But we can, if we show surprise or some sort of attitude towards it, we can be like, oh, how pretty, oh, how ugly, how disgusting, how bad, how cool, and that how plus blank, or how plus whatever adjective you want to say is when you use ka, right? And that's what I have here. So like the how something, whatever adjective you have. So like how ugly, how pretty, how tall, how big, how heavy, those kind of things, right? And I have a list of these adjectives down here. And these adjectives, for example, like bugat means heavy. And you can say bugat to describe just how something is heavy, right? Because these adjectives can function like verbs in a way, like it's heavy, or yeah, something is heavy, whatever, right? You can adjective it, so to speak. But bugat, let's take that for example, heavy. When you see someone carrying something that looks heavy or that is heavy, you can just say, oh, bugat, because it's heavy. Or if you have like a rising intonation and you're talking to that person, you can say bugat or bugat ba, ba, remember there's that interrogative enclitic particle. So bugat means heavy, but if I add ka before it, right, kabugat, uy kabugat, it means, oh, how heavy, And that's another thing too with ka. A lot of the times Cebuano speakers will have some sort of emotion when they say it. In general, and I guess most Filipinos, but Cebuano speakers they tend to be very emotional people, like very emotional and very expressive in how they say and how they talk. And they will show facial expressions, they will talk with their hands, they will show emotional attitudes and all that kind of stuff when they speak. So this ka is going to be a good way to express for them. It's a way for them to express or describe to them, a way for them to describe the revolving world around them using these adjectives with this ka prefix. Right, so if we add, let's go back to that bugat example, right? Kabugat. When we put this affix ka right there, it now changes bugat from heavy to how heavy. But again, when I said Cebuano speakers are emotional people, they'll be more like, uy, kabugat, uy, kabugat. Or they'll be like, ay, kagwapo. Oh, kagwapo. Oh, how pretty. Oh, how cute. Or, something like that, right? Wait. They can also be like, oh, kaluoy, uy, kaluoy, oh, how sad, how pitiful, oh, uy, ay, kabastos, kabastos means more like, ooh, how rude, how nasty, or, oh, kangit-ngit daw, kangit-ngit bitaw, or kangit-ngit is like, oh, how dark, or man, it's dark, how dark it is, ay, kamaldito, kamaldito, kamaldito kamo, oh, how malicious you guys are, or how wicked, or how evil, or how annoying you guys are, kind of like that. Kapaspas, uy, kapaspas be, like kapaspas. It's like, oh, how fast, man, damn, how fast. So you'll hear these ka expressions with these adjectives, mostly with these emotional expressions that the speaker will have. So, and that's just something that like Cebuano speakers normally put in, mauba, uy, like they'll have those facial expressions when they speak, and they speak with their hands. Ew. Again, the ka just makes it so that the adjective changes to how, whatever. The how, whatever, right? Aw, how beautiful. What else do we want to talk about? Well, I'm going to move on to the bonus, whatever. Oh, and then ka, obviously there's more uses for ka, but this is just something I wanted to talk about. Ka is one of those affixes in Cebuano that gets used a lot. And sometimes at the end of a word, like, let's say, for example, we have ka, right? Ka is one of those commonly used affixes that becomes a circumfix, right? A circumfix. And with these circumfixes, ka will have ka will be a prefix followed by a root word followed by a postfix or an affix at the end, a suffix, most commonly an or on, like so ka blah 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 on, or ka blah 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 an, right? So ka is one of those affixes that take on the circumfixes too. But in this case, I'm just explaining what ka is when it's with adjectives and ka by itself. And it makes it so that it's just making the adjective into, oh, how, whatever, with an expression. Yeah, there's more to ka than just that. And I want to talk about some cultural notes as well, because I feel like this could be something nice to talk about with random Cebuano speaking people. Filipinos in general are very I guess superstitious. No, I guess not very superstitious. Like, you got Filipinos like me who doesn't give a shit about superstition or religion, but most Filipinos, I guess, generally, when you meet Filipinos, they'll be very religious and superstitious, and they believe in like these supernaturals and stuff like that, right? And I want to touch up on this one Cebuano, the Cebuano phrase, the di ingon nato, right? Di ingon nato. Di ingon nato, which literally means like the things we don't tell, like, because ingon is to tell or to pass by or to go by, so di ingon nato, it's like the things we don't say, or the whatever things, the things we don't say, right? And the things we don't say on a daily refers more like to the supernatural or the paranormal kind of things, like the spirits and the ghosts and the little, those like enchanted creatures and stuff like that, right? The things that, I guess, those spirits and the spiritual stuff that we don't see and we don't really interact with it because it's, again, di ingon nato, it's like stuff what we don't tell or say about. It's just kind of like in the back burner. And some words that can relate to this would be like encanto, mga encanto, which would be like things like fairies and, nymphs and fairies and all that stuff. Sirens, maybe sirena, which is a mermaid, or encanto, enchanted things like nymphs and mermaids, or that kind of nymphs and fairies and or whatever, right? Duende is actually a dwarf. Mga duende, those little tiny dwarfs. Like in Philippine folklore, a lot of it revolves with like these encanto, these enchanted creatures. Duende is a dwarf. Enano is an elf, or a little tiny elf. Enano. What else? Oh, kalag. Kalag means like a ghost or a soul or a spirit. Kalag, right? There's actually a holiday called Kalag, which is All Souls Day, that happens around November, and a lot of people celebrate Kalag. Like when we celebrated Kalag, it was we were at the cemetery, and a lot of people go to the cemetery to visit their dead. I think it's similar to Mexico's Dia de los Muertos, like the Day of the Dead, right? Dia de los Muertos. We have a version of it called Kalag. And, people go to the cemetery, they camp out, and they hang out with their ancestors or their dead relatives. They have a picnic, and there's like a festival and a fair, all that stuff. where they celebrate the dead and those who have gone by, and that goes in part with like the ghosts and the spirits, right? The Ingonato would mean more like supernatural beings, you know, like I guess things like supernatural beings, like making how tree branches can fucking bend and stuff like that because of a creature or something, or mystical creature or something like that. But yeah, so that's just some cultural notes, you know. Filipinos, obviously, they'll read this in literature, children's literature, kids' literature, stuff like that. But some people are very superstitious and they still believe this stuff too. So, but, and most people are now modernized, so I'm not sure if they still believe it or not, but I'm very sure, for one thing, Filipinos are very religious. And that is it for this video.